All right, let's get it, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome on into today's edition of Sixers Game Recap as we're discussing Monday night's what was supposed to be a big showdown against the Denver Nuggets in Ball Arena. Turned out to be a close game while the Sixers were extremely shorthanded and the Nuggets were, I guess, already throwing out the red carpet, the confetti out for Nikola Jokic as he's probably going to win his third MVP from what they are saying. Denver was very up in arms about this MVP conversation. We'll get to that in a second. But this is a 116 and 111 loss. It's a little bit of a heartbreaker. You were without Joel Embiid, who we found out about a couple hours beforehand. We were actually live during Owen Philly Sports when we found out that news that Joel Embiid would be out on Monday night. James Harden was going to be a game-time decision, and leading up to the game, it was decided that it was in the best interest to sit out James Harden. And this is where the controversy begins. Joel, James out in a big matchup, and obviously the big implications were the MVP because it's Jokic, it's Embiid again. And this time around, it's in Denver, it's late in the season, and Joel Embiid over the past 2 weeks has been the clear-cut MVP candidate, and this was going to be his opportunity to kind of make his last statement to the MVP voters. And unfortunately for Joel and his MVP case, it may have taken a little bit of a hit. It honestly may have taken a little bit of a hit. But the debate, and this is where we need to start before we move into the game, because I feel like this debate is bigger than the game that we watched on Monday night. Should Joel Embiid have played through that game? Obviously, you're just load managing. It's a precaution. You don't want to overwork Joel Embiid heading into the playoffs, and that's obviously understandable. But when Joel Embiid has his best opportunity to win the MVP, where a lot of people do feel like that was going to be the case, and you obviously have the nut job, Kendrick Perkins, tweeting out there that, hey, that him not playing in last night's game really affected his opportunity of winning the MVP. And if that's the case, then honestly, so be it. So be it. If the voters believe that a matchup here in March against Nikola Jokic, while the Sixers are going through a extremely tough road trip, and for Joel Embiid to be benched, then so be it. I honestly, I told you guys this last year. I told you guys this in 2021, and I'm going to tell you guys this now in 2023 yet again. I don't care if Joel Embiid wins the MVP. I may have cared in 21, maybe slightly in 22, but now in 23, I have no interest in winning the NBA MVP for Joel Embiid. It's cool. It's an awesome award. We dealt with it with Bryce Harper. We had the banner outside of CBP. It's a dope award to win. We almost won it with Jalen. We got disrespected with Daniel Gazdak. But it is absolutely an amazing accolade to win. I don't want to downgrade the MVP, but the fact of the matter is, like I put it out yesterday with my TikTok, I trusted the process. Right? I was one of the few who trusted the process. And why would I sit here and say I trust the process if I didn't want to win a championship? I want to win a championship. We didn't tank all those years to have an MVP. We tanked all those years to have multiple championships, and that may not happen anymore. But what we can reconcile with, what we can settle with, is one championship. And we all know, in order to win a championship with this Sixers team, you need a healthy Joel, and especially you need a healthy James. James might be even more important than Joel, considering the fact you see the way the offense is without a fully 100% James Harden this year. James has been the engine of the Sixers offense. Yes, Joel Embiid is a matchup nightmare, and he mostly wins a lot of these tough matchups, but James Harden and the way he can create for himself and for others is extremely important, and that's what gets this Sixers offense going. The Sixers team in general, obviously, going as well. So it was a bummer not having both those players because, listen, it would have been a fun matchup. Denver's obviously an elite team. Sixers obviously an elite team, and you want to see what a lot of people are calling the NBA Finals preview. But dare I remind you, Denver Nuggets fans, Denver fans, Nikola Jokic stands, you guys are fucking weird as all hell. But we did beat you guys earlier in the season, and it still was a regular season game. All right, it did not matter. And Joel Embiid put Nikola Jokic in the crib. if you know what I mean. He put him in the cradle, and he was rocking that bad boy. Okay? All right, so for all this Jokic is better than Embiid shit, just stop it. These people literally make up any single stat they possibly, anything to tell themselves in their little putrid minds that Jokic is better than Embiid, they will try to do it. And especially this one. These people have been putting banners throughout Denver, Colorado, where they have nothing better to do than smoke some weed, and they put these missing banners up for Joel Embiid. I thought it was absolutely embarrassing for them. Missing? Show me how much you don't know ball. Show me how Joel Embiid playing. Let's first off, that's a good point that we bring up there. Let's see how many games Joel Embiid has played this year. And what, we're at like close to the 70 mark of games so far this year in the league, in the season. Joel Embiid this year. That's not what I. Okay, so Joel Embiid so far this year has played 61 games. And we're about 70 games into it. That's impressive, ladies. For Joel Embiid, that's impressive here. And for him to come off of a back-to-back with the Warriors and the Suns, are you kidding me? Nikola Jokic would have sat out the next game too. So get the fuck out of here, Denver. Stick to your little Reggies, your little regulars, all right? Get the fuck out of here in my face with that dumb shit. Come back to Philly with that bullshit. Denver. But let's get to this game. Enough of the Denver Nuggets shenanigans. Look, this is obviously going to be a tough one because Denver was fully staffed. Jokic was there, Michael Porter Jr., Aaron Gordon, Jamal Murray. The whole staff was there. The whole big dogs were there for Denver, and it's obviously a really good team. So, look, Monday night, what you were expecting was Tyrese Maxey and Tobias Harris to kind of lead the way here for the Sixers, kind of like they did against the Bulls a couple days ago in Chicago. And that's kind of what really happened. Tyrese and Toby led the way. Tyrese went off with 29 points. He had a spectacular game. He was heating up, knocking down threes, jumpers, running to the lane. He was all over the court. Obviously, Denver threw the double team at him, and that's where he struggled a little bit. But, I mean, it's crazy to think that now teams are starting to throw double teams at Tyrese. And, they obviously had to do it. He was hot, and there was no one else on the court that they really trusted, like a Joel or a James. So they decided to throw the double teams at Tyrese Maxey. It's kind of what you got to do there. Tobias, again, finding his spots. We all know when there's no Joel and there's no James, he's going to find his spots. Find those mismatches, get the post game going, still knock down those threes. He likes the medium game too. He likes those elbow jumpers and the medium range stuff, and he was knocking down a couple of those as well. 6 of 12 from the field, good, and 2 for 4 from 3-point line. Pretty efficient night, 50% from both, and he was perfect from the free throw line. So it was a very solid performance. He was a minus 16 from the plus minus. Defensively, there were struggles all over the court. I mean, when you don't have Joel, your anchor, it definitely is a tough challenge there. But and when you're going up against the Nuggets, we kill the Nuggets, but they are a solid offensive team, right? So that is definitely bound to happen. But obviously, the big talk before the game was Dwayne Dedmon getting the start, and we talked about it during Owen Philly Sports about the Saturday night shenanigans in which Doc decided to put Dwayne Dedmon in the important minutes of the fourth quarter into the game to start at center. And we talked about the fact that is not the time and place to kind of see what you have in Dwayne Dedmon. And if anything, Paul Reed should be getting any backup center minutes. If Joel Embiid is not in the game, we should be seeing Paul Reed, and that's been clearly evident. And Dwayne, I'll say this about Dwayne. Number one, he didn't finish the game. So that's exactly what you guys should have wanted to see. That's you have no Joel Embiid. You're not going to start Paul Reed for 60 minutes, right? That's just stupid. Dwayne only gave you 10 minutes. I honestly thought to start off this game, he looked solid in the fact that on Saturday night against Phoenix, dude was slow as molasses. Those feet were not moving any quicker than my feet. Okay, let's put it that way. And then he's in those crucial minutes, and he's just getting absolutely destroyed. In this game, I felt like he was moving a little bit better. He had 2 blocks here in the game. He looked better, but at the end of the day, he has to go up against Jokic, and Jokic is a formidable matchup, and so that's where he had his struggles, and that's where you see the minus 10 there. But I thought Dwayne Dedmon's performance was better here than what you saw on Saturday. But no, Doc, that does not mean that Dwayne Dedmon should be getting more than 3 minutes in the playoffs a game. Like, we just don't need to see it. We don't need to see it. And, oh, by the way, for everyone who was bitching, complaining about the starting lineup before the game, not realizing that you had no Joel Embiid in the game, Paul Reed had the most minutes at the center position. He finished with 16. Oh, no. He finished with 16, almost 17 minutes. And he had a solid game. Again, foul troubles being an issue as he had two. But he picked it up quickly. And I thought he looked more comfortable to end his run. 16 points in 16 minutes. That's some Joel Embiid numbers right there. I'll point a minute, right? 7-7 from the field. He had 9 boards. That's what you want to see from our boy Paul Reed. 2 steals and a block. So Paul Reed got after it. And like the one concern you're always gonna have about Paul Reed is just like the young mistakes and the fact that he is like 6'9", 6'10". He's not the tallest, but he plays like he's 7 foot. And he's obviously got the athletic ability. So, when you're talking about quick transitions or trying to run the pick and roll or just going up against quicker, younger teams, Paul Reed is the guy. I mean, why do we need to see a DeAndre Jordan, Dwayne Dedmon type in there, right? Am I right? So for Paul Reed making the most of his opportunity there, and that's exactly what you want to see from Paul Reed. Now, the question is, what does Doc see? Yeah, that's always the $1 million question. What does Doc see? Because, who knows? Next game, decides to play Dwayne Dedmon for 20 minutes. If Joel Embiid's not in there, then you're just wondering, like, what the fuck are we doing here? Jalen McDaniels came back. Looks solid, 14 points here tonight, or on Monday night. I was a little relieved to see him. And now he did suffer a little bit of an injury, a little bit of a sore injury. He went up for a layup and he started grabbing the hip a little bit. And obviously he had that contusion. I wonder if that's still bothering him. Look, get him right. Honestly, get him right. Like, the medical staff needs to get McDaniels right. We're talking about an important piece coming off the bench. We talk about how athleticism is lacking from this team, and Jalen McDaniels provides that, especially on defense. And so whatever you need to do to keep Jalen McDaniels healthy, please do. I mean, if you need to sit him out for the rest of the year, I need him for the playoffs. It's just fact of matters. Because you know what I don't want to see is Georges Niang running perimeter defense, all right? Because we all see it, and we all saw it here tonight, man. He slows molasses, and you listen. He provides you that 3, and that's why you have him in there. And I also don't need to see him in late game situations. The fact that in late game situations on Saturday night you got Dwayne Dedmon and Georges Niang running your front court. I mean, I could get back by that front court. Are you kidding me? So, Georges Niang, we know your role, and let's just kind of keep it at that. Melton with 7 points here, had 20 and 25 minutes. Not the most efficient night here for D'Anthony, but he had a solid weekend and he put up a lot of points, a lot of shots for the Sixers over the weekend. PJ Tucker, I got nothing from you guys. 22 minutes, zeros all over the board. Yeah, zeros all over the board. I mean, the thing is that you got to remember, you have to put PJ Tucker in there at times at the center position. Provides you a little bit of something different. Well, Paul Reed's in there, it kind of feels like a small ball lineup, but Paul Reed's not really like a small ball center. PJ Tucker obviously brings a small ball lineup. But I think where PJ Tucker, what he brings that Paul doesn't is just experience and veteran leadership. And some of the dumbass mistakes that Paul Reed does, you're not going to get with PJ Tucker. And so that's kind of why you keep PJ Tucker in the rotation at center. He's going to move between the 4 and the 5. And that's really what you're going to do. And you're just going to rely on that defense. That's really what you're expecting from PJ Tucker. And so you can't expect too much, guys. You can't expect. We're almost getting time. We're almost getting to PJ time. PJ time is playoff time. And that's really what I'm going to be waiting more. But, yeah, I mean, listen, I don't want to harp too much on Dwayne. I mean, you had a lot of extra pieces. Daniel House, I thought he looked solid here tonight. He gave a lot of effort here. I don't know where he fits in the wing rotation. Because if you look at the starting lineup, I mean, when fully healthy, it's Joel, it's PJ, it's Toby, it's Tyrese and it's James, right? And then your first options off the bench is obviously going to be Melton, McDaniels when healthy, and it should be Paul Reed. It should be Paul Reed, but we'll it's Doc Rivers. I don't know what to tell you guys. But after that, like, to me, the next guy coming off the bench is Georges Niang. Because of what he provides from the 3-point line, it's really important. I mean, you just saw how important that was on Friday night against the Warriors. You don't put up threes against a team like the Warriors, you're kind of fucked. And so a guy like Georges Niang is important for those type of matchups. And there are some teams in the East who do shoot the three ball well. I mean, you look at Boston, they shoot the three ball well. So you're going to need Georges Niang for those type of situations. I think really for me, I would interchange House and Niang. Now, I know they're a little bit different, but they're both typically wing players, and I'm obviously wing players. But I would use House if I need more speed, more versatility, a much more traditional wing player. Whereas if I need that three ball, if I need more offense, I probably would go with Georges Niang. And for Doc, he's probably always going to go with the three ball. And so Georges Niang's probably going to get those minutes over House. But that's really where you look at it. It's who's that ninth guy off the bench. Because I forgot about Shake Milton as well. But if we predict this correctly, you're looking at Melton being the sixth man off the bench, followed by McDaniels, followed by Milton, followed by Paul Reed. And then it's Niang or House. And that's really going to be the decision that Doc Rivers needs to make. But I think, listen, I mean, you need the three balls is really important. I mean, I know Niang is a defensive liability, but that's kind of where I would go if I am Doc Rivers and the Sixers going forward into the lineup, into the playoffs. But look, at the end of the day, did Joel Embiid lose the MVP? Possibly. The voters, they do take those type of things seriously, and any little thing like that, they will knock it on Joel Embiid, which definitely sucks. But it is what it is. We didn't go into this season with expectations of winning an MVP for Joel Embiid. We went into this season with expectations of getting to the NBA Finals, getting out of the second round, and that needs to still be the priority. Nothing should change just because no one else stepped up besides Joel Embiid over the past couple weeks. And to be quite honest with you, even after not playing last night, Joel Embiid still, to me, is the best MVP candidate. You see what's going on in Dallas; it's a mess. Milwaukee, still hanging in there, and Denver as well. Nikola Jokic still hanging in there, but no one has been dominant the way that Joel Embiid has. And I guess there still is time to prove what he's got. The tough part of the schedule is kind of coming to an end. This was the height, the climax of the tough schedule for the Sixers, playing against the Warriors, the Suns, and the Nuggets. 3 straight games, and obviously you got 3 straight losses. So that's obviously the bummer, and a tough road trip here for the Sixers. They're coming off of an 8-game winning streak, right? Then they have to go out on the road. Although they lose to the Bulls, then they have to go out on the road. And then they lose 3 or 4 on this road trip. So definitely tough. But tomorrow night, they're back in action against Dallas. Dallas will be in Philadelphia for a 7:30 tip-off. Now, again, they're a mess. Doncic and Irving are not on the same page right now. This team's not on the same page right now. So it's an opportunity tomorrow night to get back on the winning streak. You don't want to go 4 in a row. Because after that, you got Toronto, who you always play tough with. Milwaukee, Boston, and Miami. So you got another tough stretch after that. So, but I think that this stretch right now, considering the fact that you were on the West Coast, was much more difficult than what you're about to deal with. So we'll keep an eye out for that. But guys, we literally have 7 games left till the end of the regular season, and that's what I'm telling you guys. Focus right now is after April 9th. In my honest opinion, focus right now is after April 9th. Because right now my main concern is keeping my boys healthy for the playoffs. And that has to be the priority for everyone, even the fans. All right? Now, I don't care about no MVPs. Give me